Okay, so here's the project. We're going to be building an orb like this. Here's the layout. We got sand, about a pint, copper oxide, brass shavings, red iron oxide for a little color, and resin as needed, meaning this is going to be a real thick sort of a thing to do. What I did is I coated the inside of this thing with Vaseline. As you can see, I did a real sloppy job, and I did that on purpose, because the resin's not going to go through the Vaseline at all. What's going to happen is this is going to show up as an imperfection on the outside of this thing. Okay, how can I explain this? I just don't want it smooth as a marble. I want it to look more like a stone. Okay. Now the trick is, let's see. This thing is going to go in the center. And I coated the hell out of this thing with Vaseline, because when this stuff cures, it compresses. And it's going to compress right around this thing. Let's see, let's set that in there. Does that look right? Does that look right to you guys? Am I off a little? That's good enough. Okay, I coated the bottom of this thing with a lot of Vaseline. That's going to act as the seal. As I said, that the resin's not going to get through the Vaseline unless you have a lot of pressure behind it, or a very thin resin material. Well, this is going to be very thick. We're not going to have much in there, so it's not going to have much of a pressure. But that Vaseline is going to be enough to give it a seal, so that we'd be able to fill it all the way up to the top, okay, with this stuff in one pour, and still have this open thing, which we'll remove later on. All right. Now what we have here is some crushed stone from Herkimer. There's a few, chips in there. Play sand. We have some of the other dry stuff like red iron oxide, copper oxide, brass shavings. And we're going to assemble all this stuff. We're going to put it in one of these cups, mix it in here with, with the resin. I forgot the resin. Okay, all right. And I have it measured out. It's going to go up to that fill line. Okay. That's going to be able to fill it all the way to the top of this. That's what we want. This is a one-time use. Once this thing cures, we're just going to take a hammer to this mold, and we're going to see what comes out of it. Let's get these things together now. Okay, so far, this is what we have. Fairly thick, sloppy mess. Okay, look at that, stands right up to it. Now it's about 50 some degrees, low 50s right now, so it's going to take a little while for this thing to go. I didn't put the hardener in yet, the catalyst. All right, I just wanted you to see this. I'd say right now there's equal parts of sand and resin in this. That's it, Bondo, the regular stuff. I didn't add anything else to it except for the powdered metals and the sand, and this is pretty much the consistency. I kind of want that, but I don't. I think I'll add more sand to it. But before I do that, I'll add the catalyst to it. It's going to take a little while for this thing to harden, so I'm going to throw in some extra catalyst. And here's the stones. Just throw those things in. And we'll throw some extra crystals in there, and we'll take it from there. See how it works. This has a nice rock color to it. Okay, and we're gonna see what. Gonna take it from there. I'm gonna need both hands to do this, so I'll let you know when we get done pouring. Okay, as you can see, it's a real sloppy mess. This stuff is really thick. Okay, that's thick as oatmeal. Okay, but since we poured it, we're gonna put a couple crystal shards in there, here and there. And look, it's so thick that it doesn't even want to sink. Of course, we'll fix that. Now this is just to add a little extra to it. Look at that, so thick. This will suspend a rock. I added more sand to it. All right, now the sand is basically crushed up quartz. All right, the more the better as far as I'm concerned. Actually, you could probably make an excellent orgonite using mostly sand, a little bit of powdered metal, and just enough resin to hold it together. And if I had any less resin, all right, than what I have right here, I wouldn't be able to pour it. We're going to let this set on frequency for a little bit. It's going to take me a couple seconds to get that set up. I'll be right back. Okay, we just set this thing to frequency. 783 hertz. Okay. Schumann resonance. And it's also alpha. You know, the brain waves that humans have. Okay. And there it is. It's a relatively low amount of amplitude, but it's going to be good enough for what we're doing here. All right. And there's some nice action going on there. Okay, the way this works is, even though this is primarily like a medium density orgonite that works on its own, okay, this one right down here is a ring generator I found that's made of real dense orgonite with a Mobius coil. The Mobius coil is hooked up to these leads, which goes to this unit right here, which is basically a frequency generator. So instead of this being internalized inside of a unit like I had in you know, the field generators, which this was essentially the heart of, all right, this is on the outside. It's still affecting the medium density orgonite in there. And what we're going to do is we're going to leave it sit on here and get programmed with Schumann resonance, Schumann frequency. And there's no leakage on the inside at all. A lot of bubbles coming up out of the top here. Not quite sure about that. Looks like I'm going to have some cleaning up to do. But it's going to be interesting what this thing's look like when it comes out. So far it's cool. Cool to the touch. And you could feel the energy, even though there's a slight amount of frequency getting in. You could feel that. You could feel that energy there. Nice. Okay. We'll leave this go for a while now. Resin takes 3 days to set. I got 3 days to program this thing. If I didn't program it today, I'd probably still get a chance of being able to program it tomorrow. This is how this resin is. By 3 days, it's going to be completely hardened up. It's not going to do anything. I mean, as far as it'll be too late for the programming then. But you got a 3-day window. In this case, it's still in a liquid form. I'm programming it now, and we'll come back to this and see what happens. Okay, it took about a half an hour or so for this thing to get going. But as you could tell, here, let me get a nail. As you can see, it's getting kind of rigid up here. Okay, and it's real close up. You can actually see it breaking away from that mold. Right down here, see all around the outside? It's actually, there's an air space in there. This thing is shrinking, okay? It's shrinking away from the mold while it cures, tightening around this. That's why we had to put a lot of Vaseline around it. But look right around here. You can see this? That's liquid Vaseline. From the heat, that's generated from that thing, and it's hot. It's hot, baby. That chemical reaction. What it's doing is it's setting up. It's melding that Vaseline as it sets, but it's already too set to go past the Vaseline on this. Okay, or this. All this Vaseline that's coated around the outside of this and this is melting, and it's bubbling up to the surface. And that's Vaseline right there. The rest of it, that's getting hard. Alright, we'll let that go for a little while. Cure at least to the point where I could touch it. And we'll just put it in a bucket and smash it with a hammer. Okay, took this sucker out of the mold. And it's heavy. It's pretty much what it looks like. Here's the top side. Here's the bottom side. And that pipe slipped right out. Well, it didn't slip right out. Had to take a hammer to it. Big ass screwdriver. But you know, that's what tools are for. But you can see the mottled edge on this. I kind of did that on purpose. That's the result of the Vaseline that I smeared all over the inside of the mold. Look at that. Alright, so it doesn't look like a rock, but it doesn't look artificial either. It looks like it has a grain to it. You know, it looks like something you might find someplace. You know, like an archaeological dig or something. But this is pretty much the way I wanted it. Not sure what that is. Looks like maybe a piece of crystal. But I think it looks pretty good. Let's see what it does in here. I still have the thing set on 783. Yep, there it is. There it is. There it is. Right there. Yep. Right there is where it's concentrated. What's going on is the energy going through here is acting on this thing, and it's creating one of those things like a vortex. Alright, the energy is basically concentrated right in the center. And you could feel that coming out. I still feel it up here. It feels like a pressure. A pulsating pressure that goes along with that sound you hear. Okay, what am I going to do with this? Well, since this is medium density, what I'm going to end up doing is probably building a ring of some sort, like this, similar to this. Alright, and it's for gifting the woods. I still have to do some tests with it. What happens if I put something in here? You know, a pipe, crystal, who the hell knows. But on its own, still seems to have a little buzz to it. Not as effective as that. No, not as effective as that. I'll have to work on something. Maybe some sort of a Mobius type generating type unit that could be in proximity to this with an earth battery. Alright, theoretically it could last forever. But that's pretty much it. And just thought I'd show you that. And you know, yeah, let me know what you think of that. There we go. It's pretty nice. Okay, that's it. Okay, before I move on to another project, I wanted to play around with this for a little bit. Alright, you know, it's been sitting in here for a little while. You know, and it occurred to me that there's really nothing in there. Maybe maybe if we tried a few things, okay, we could, kind of see where we're going. Just a piece of copper pipe. And that seems to add a little bit more. Yeah, a little sharper. Let's try another pipe. I think it takes a little while for it to absorb, and I could definitely feel a stream right there. Let's try something else. This is from a previous attempt. Alright, so multiplying them seems to work better. Let's try this. Anything? Not as much as before. Let's try that back again. What does that do? Alright, that seems to be the right combination. Let's try this. This is something I made before that's a little bit more, a little heavier, but it's the shape. That's interesting. There's a tingling effect right there. Let's try something. Come on. Seems to pump it up a little bit more. Okay, let's... Come on, where are you? There you go, okay. These things seem to need something in the center for it to react with. Yeah, you could feel that. Alright, let's... piece of citrine. See if that does anything. Now these are just bullshit tests. I mean, doesn't really mean anything. It just satisfies my curiosity a little bit. And that has a different feel to it. It's sort of like that. Not as sharp, but you know, comfortable buzz. It's not near as much. I'd say we just try everything. You know, and see where that takes us. See, what I'm thinking is if I build enough of these things, I could stack them. And They seem to multiply. Absolutely. Right around there, there's a nice buzz. It's right around there's the concentration. For some reason, it doesn't seem to be coming up out of the top of the pipe near as much as it is right in here, which makes me think maybe see this device right over here. It's the shape that's everything. All by itself, you could feel the tingle in this just by holding it like this. You could definitely feel, and it doesn't seem to depreciate. It just keeps going. It doesn't matter what kind of material it's made out of. The shape is everything. I believe it has to do with leaking out the edges. But holding it like this, I could feel that definite tingle in the thumb. Maybe we could use it on this. But until that time comes, this is going to be the next project. And I'll keep you posted on that.